In today's episode, I sit down with Ziggy Makant, and like me, she has been in the fitness industry here in Hong Kong for quite some time. In today's episode, we talk about her evolution in fitness and how she's gone from being a coach to now being a co-owner of one of Hong Kong's coolest fitness spaces. We talk about how the industry has changed from 15 years ago to the present and what we have to come and expect in the future. You're going to love this one. Ziggy, welcome to the Process Podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, Ed. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Ed Haynes.
But why are you good?
I had a day off today. That's why I'm good. I'm also officially on the podcast, which I've been waiting for this invitation for 10 years. So,
And apparently I've been contributing to your trauma of not being able to ask people for things. Is that true?
yes and no. Like, as a content creator, sometimes I will just ask for stuff that I'm like, oh, I really like that and I want to try it. And it's out of my budget. So I'll ask for it to be sponsored. But things I really care about that I'm nervous about, I tend not to ask for. I wait for the invitation. Have you ever done your human design?
No, I have not.
So this is not rooted in science. It's a little bit woo-woo, like me, but it's the idea that based on your astrological birth date, it's a bit like astrology mixed with gene keys, and you get this archetype, and it's how you should work basically in the world. And the majority of the world are generators. It's like 9 to 5, go, go, go. And I thought I was that type. And then it turns out I'm not. I am a projector. And one of my strategies is, instead of going for something, making it happen, I need to pause, sit back, and wait for the invitation.
So what was the name of this
It's
thing?
Called Human Design.
Is it a blood test? Is it a saliva test? What is it?
It's like a chart that gets...
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was like a DNA testing thing.
No.
Okay, cool. That reminded me of... What is the one where there's 4 animals? There's like you're dolphins, bears, lions, and it's all to do with like the dolphins are like the insomniacs. A lot of the creative world, like Alex. You've got the bears, which is what society has predominantly been built off, like the 9 to 6s.
Yeah.
You know, like go to bed at 10 p.m. You know, wake up at 7 a.m. type thing. No, this is not striking a chord or ringing any bells with you.
No, I've never heard of the different animal archetypes.
Yeah, anyhow. Ziggy, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Ziggy, also known as ZigFit Mama. I am a mother of 3, and I am a women's health coach. I mainly do pre and postnatal. I do a little bit of Instagram influencing, get some free stuff every now and then. And I am also a co-owner. I'm also a co-owner at The Vault.
And who is The Vault? Like, what does The Vault do?
So The Vault Fitness has 3 sort of different demographics, and often those 3 different demographics never actually cross paths. So we are a gym based in Sheungwan, started by my husband, Dan, in the middle of the pandemic. Hats off to him for doing that. What a choice.
Yeah, bold move.
Very bold. And we both work in the same industry. We're both in fitness. So it was very scary at the time financially. But he started originally because he worked in sort of like more commercial Globo gyms. That was his background when he was in the UK, like David Lloyd's, Virgin Active style. And he had worked for a commercial chain here, helping set those up, fitting them out entirely, organizing all their PT, their group classes, etc. And so he scaled it, made it scaled in the sense of smaller scale.
Yeah.
A gym membership, PT, small group class. And those different demographics never actually cross. So we have gym memberships, just monthly gym memberships where people come, plug their headphones in, do their workouts. We host lots of machines because originally a lot of bodybuilders started at the gym. Now it's generally just general population, office workers, and we still get bodybuilders, but we don't really train people in that way. We don't have a lot of bodybuilders as coaches. And then we've got our small group classes. So because we have a very small space, we just max those to 6 people. And within that, we have some just like public group classes, strength, high rocks, circuits, that kind of thing. We have our women's program, which is a group class, but it's more like personal training in a group class setting. So maybe similar to Build, I guess. It's like a structured, periodized program that changes on cycles. People sign up, they can do it online, they get a gym membership included, but people come for the community so they can track their progress. And then I think that's it. That's what we've got: group class, PT, gym membership.
The Vault is a sick gym.
Thanks. I
So-
have nothing to do with the design.
No, well then, you can pass this on to your husband, Dan. I'm pretty sure I've told him.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember the Vault opening, in the pandemic, because on my way home to Kennedy Town, on the flyover, it's like perfectly located. So, you get the passing traffic, you see the Vault logo, and you see it's clearly a gym.
Yes.
You see treadmills, you see some machines in the background. And I remember during the pandemic, I had just done a course on biomechanics. And I don't know if you heard the guys from N1.
No.
And they had loads of cool stuff. And I was getting really into like the nerdy stuff on like, moment arms, strength curves, resistance curves, and was wanting to like really play with the machines. And I was like, I don't really have any of those machines in Coastal to kind of geek out on. And obviously pandemic times, like I had a little bit more time in my hands than normal. So I remember thinking like, that the Vault place looks like it has some really cool stuff. So I went and actually booked a trial week there.
Oh, nice.
And just to separate myself from this place, which was, it was obviously a tough time to everyone. And I had an epic week of training, was just geeking out on all the different things they had. A lot of the machines you got like a lot of Atlantis equipment there.
Yeah, there's Nautilus and Atlantis.
Yeah, Atlantis, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like high end, like cool training equipment. But
very
I actually
thoughtful, like, and the way the gym is set out is very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like our spiel when we have people walk through is the way it's set out is by body part, because typically
nice.
that's how bodybuilders train. They train by body part a lot of the time, and how you can basically hit every different angle, every different fiber.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, just by going from one machine to the next.
So, I mean, I know this wasn't you, but it was Dan whose idea, he had the idea to open up the Vault. Why start a gym business in the middle of the pandemic?
I think for him, he's always wanted to be an owner. That's the way he works best. And
when you say that's the way he works best, what, like high pressure situation or just being the owner and not working for other people? Is that what you mean?
Both.
Okay.
Definitely both. He is good. He is someone you want in a stressful situation, because he just handles things. Whereas I get very flustered very quickly. I'm not cool, calm, and collected in a stressful situation. I panic. But also just being an owner, I think his skills are really good. Like, he's very good at handling a complaint. I'm not good with complaints. He is very direct, and so he doesn't really care about what people think of him. He will just tell you how it is, and potentially this is because he's from the middle of nowhere in Scotland where things are really rough. And so people just say things how they are, whereas I tend to sugarcoat. I really care about people's feelings. I want everyone to like me. So I'm good in some ways in customer service because it's always served with a smile. But when a complaint comes up, I'm not the one to be dealing with it. So he handles a lot of that. And yeah, he does all the back end stuff. So he handles operations, pay, all of that. And then I do more like brands, community, collaborations.
Love it. Your history in the fitness industry, talk me through it.
So I think a reason as well that I was like, oh, they're never going to ask me on this podcast is because I'm not athletic. And I know you guys work with athletes. Like, everyone in here is amazing, chiseled, dialed in, committed, disciplined. And I'm kind of not. And I've never really identified with being sporty. I never really played sport. The extent of it was me playing rugby for school and clubs so that my family could get sevens tickets early every year.
Nice.
And that was about it.
You're the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, basically, because I'm not fast. I still scream when a ball comes towards me. I'm not, I'm not the best with hand-eye coordination. My movement, I guess, growing up was dance. And so then when I went to university, you know, I gained a lot of weight. I went through a breakup and I was like, right, so now I'm going to go to the gym so I can just be hot and like, you know,
Nice.
revenge body
Revenge bod, yeah.
aesthetic. But then I found through dance, I found pole fitness, pole dancing. Um, and I got really strong doing that. And that felt really amazing. And then through pole, I found a girl who had started basically like a lifting, what do you call them at uni? Club?
Society?
Society.
Yeah.
And it was at a CrossFit box. And it was like one of the first CrossFit boxes in Manchester. It was really OG CrossFit. It was so nice, so community based. They were, and this is back when we used to call the 15 bar, like the girl bar.
Yeah.
And my gym didn't have
Can't say
one.
that anymore.
No,
No.
no. Or we would still do like knee push ups as girl push ups. And, but like, anyways. And so they, yeah, and then it stopped being about aesthetics, right? And it then changed into what can my body do? And I started getting more into it. I would come train here when I was back from uni. I eventually did my CrossFit level 1. I was coaching at that box for a bit before I moved back. And I eventually moved back to Hong Kong and I had a job straight away. One of my friends was working at a transformation gym here. I'd never done transformation. I'd never actually done one-to-one PT until I moved back to Hong Kong because CrossFit was always in a group setting. And they provided a lot of education. Like, even though I don't necessarily live that lifestyle or agree with the methods that they and we did to our clients, it was very good education, like learning how the body moves. Bodybuilding's fantastic, I think.
Yeah.
Parts of it are unhealthy, but yeah. And then I became pregnant.
I think the parts of it that are unhealthy, sorry to cut you off, is
Yeah.
like less about the actual bodybuilding, but it's a culture of bodybuilding. I think what a lot of people associate bodybuilding to be, which is also like, are you talking about, calorie, like extreme calorie deficits,
I think it was the
body
emotions
image?
around it. So the work culture at the time to me felt very like shameful. Like, what are you eating? What's in your Tupperware? And kind of putting people down. And it was very aggressive. And I remember sometimes in team teachings, to get the results that our clients wanted or needed, we had to be really aggressive. And I never identified with that. And one of the tactics I remember was, one of the managers was saying, so if your client has had ice cream over the weekend, you say why. And then you keep on saying why until they're just like,
You shame it out of them, basically.
yeah, which is horrible. And now being a parent, I'm like, you don't do that to people like that.
That would have been, we're talking like 2014, right? Is that around that
Yes.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, so over 10 years ago. I feel like a lot has evolved though.
Even the bodybuilders now, we know some of the most friendly ones, like James Campion, for example,
Yeah.
Hit PT,
Yeah, he's been on
Karen,
the
his
podcast a couple
wife.
times.
They are so lovely, so
Yeah.
amazing, and you don't get the same bullying, shaming, and they get great results in what I think for normal desk workers and humans in much more achievable timelines. So we're not talking like 6-week transformation. They're like 6 months, 1 year, sustainable habits.
Yeah. It just doesn't sell as well.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we both know this, but then you get more weight gain back after when you just.
I just, it's such the dichotomy is tough because I understand from a marketing perspective, like transformations will never die.
Yeah.
Because the promise of, it's not just getting a six pack, right? But it's what the six pack represents a lot of people, which is like confidence, self-esteem, being attractive to the opposite sex or trying to find a mate. Like, it represents so much more, climbing the ladder in your social group and your professional group. So I get it. And I think that the whole idea of the 6-week transformations is attractive because it seems like a small commitment for a massive return.
Yeah.
And so I think as humans, we're always going to want, all those things that I listed off. I just don't think it will ever die. And I can also totally understand why businesses take that angle because it is a really easy sell. It's easy to market.
Yeah.
You
A
see
before
a
and
fit
after
body,
photo.
transformations, like it's gold. It's like genius, but totally get like the moral standings, the moral issues potentially behind that. And yeah, sorry to interject.
No, you're so right. And I think I think I didn't like speaking to people that way.
Yeah. Well, I had like my own gripes with that as well, seeing it, because I just felt like it was really, if not unethical, but it just didn't feel right to me. I just like,
Mm.
but I think a lot of that was also because I was just seeing it as these guys don't care about the client's well-being and longevity. But they never explicitly said that. That was just me assuming that.
I think the higher up the totem pole, potentially,
Yeah.
right? But down at the bottom with the trainers who are actually doing the work to get these results, people cared,
Yeah.
or I cared about my clients. Yeah, I cared about my clients.
Sorry to cut you off. You were taking us through your history. Okay, so you worked at the transformation gym.
Yes.
You learned a ton of
Yes.
stuff, even if you didn't agree with all of it. Where did that take you next?
And then I got pregnant. And I was one of 3 women in the company at the time. And I was the first person who'd ever been pregnant within the company, and they didn't know what to do with me. And so I think that then led me on to, well, Babs Glancy, she was pregnant at the same time when I found out that I was pregnant. She was maybe 6, 7 months ahead of me. And I said, "What are you doing for prenatal training?" And she goes, "I'm not really doing anything birth fit related, but I'm still just training CrossFit."
Yeah.
And then I Googled birth fit. And so this is started by, I'm going to forget her name. She's a chiropractor in the States, Lindsay something. And I got really into birth fit and the ethos of it. And they had a podcast. And I learned so much more about like the functionality of the pelvis through that. And then things changed for me. So I stopped looking at birth, postpartum, pregnancy, about just trying to lose as much weight after you give birth to snap back. And I really looked at it as like this life transition. So I took it on to be not just physical, but sort of like this mental, spiritual, emotional journey. And I got really into the details of birth and the breathing techniques, the meditation, because I wanted to have this sort of like woo-woo hypno birth. And so I went whole hog into that, which then brought me to Mums and Bubs. I did a lot of like mummy baby workout. I was freelance training then at the time at my husband's gym that he was working at. And I started just building this community. We didn't have a helper, a domestic helper. So we didn't have any help basically my first year of having a child. And so I would bring my baby to the gym with me, and I would still have freelance PT clients and they'd bring their kids with them. And it just became this really community feel around motherhood, birth, wellness, fitness. And it stopped being about aesthetics for me at that point. And then I had my second child, and he was very big. I think everyone was asking me if I was having twins from about like month 5. He was huge, and I'm only very little. And with him, I ended up having a lot of more physical discomfort after in terms of pelvic health issues. I had really bad stress urinary incontinence, which I hadn't had to that same extent after the first. My diastasis, my abdominal separation, was significant after his. And that's when I met a woman who later became my boss, Jenny Fielding, the amazing women's health physiotherapist who created Joint Dynamics Evolve. And she treated me, and then the pandemic happened, and then she recruited me. And I started working at the physiotherapy clinic, which was an amazing experience. I learned so much working alongside women's health physios. And it was at a time where all of the research was changing around women's health, where physiotherapists and trainers alike were like, we need to do better and we need more. And more online certifications for that were evidence-based pre-postnatal certifications came out. And so I just, yeah. And it all happened at the same time as Instagram was kicking off, YouTube was getting bigger. So there was just more access to easily digestible information. And then I had my third baby, and I left Joint Dynamics so I could spend more time, have more flex, be with the kids. And now I work with my husband at the Vault Fitness. So that's professionally where I've gone.
Did you ever foresee yourself like becoming a co-owner of a gym? Like, was that ever in the pipeline as you were kind of going through this whole journey of working in different places and
I have been offered to start gyms a few times, but it just never seemed like the right time. And even now, the Vault Fitness, it's not my baby. It's my husband's concept, and I'm his supporter. I don't think I'd ever want to have a gym per se. If I had a dream, I would have a facility that was dedicated to like birth and pre and postnatal. I'd have doulas and trainers and physios and osteos all in the same space working around that life transition.
you said if I had a dream? I feel like that is your dream. Is that not your dream in the way that you just articulated that so clearly?
Maybe maybe one day it's there, but it's not the time. Like I will work towards it, but right now my kids are really young and I just don't think that they need another startup in their life when I could be present for them. So maybe when they're all school age and it's a little bit easier in terms of my time, because as a mother, I don't know if you've had any other moms come on the podcast or if you have friends that are moms, but you feel very split, or parents just in general. I always feel split. Like my brain is thinking about their needs, my husband's needs, the house's needs, the business's needs, my needs all at once. And yeah, I want to if I were to start something like that, I'd want to be whole hog, fully invested in it
Mm.
because every time I start something, it just kind of fizzles. I think I need a business coach. I think that's the next part of my journey is I need a boss, but I don't want a boss, so I need a business coach. Do
Mm.
you use one?
I do.
Yeah. How have
Yeah.
you found it?
Amazing.
How so? Say more.
Team, I want to quickly interrupt this episode to give a little shout out to our sponsors today. Well spent. This little journal has made such a massive, profound impact on my life since I started using it. When I started using it, I actually didn't know that it was backed by neuroscience, but now it totally makes sense. This has brought a ton of gratitude to my life. It keeps me on track and focused on the things I need to do day to day and brings a lot of context as to how each day fits within the greater week and the greater month. So if you, like me, really care about trying to be a high performer and want to do everything you can to make that happen, I cannot recommend this journal enough. Use our discount code, The Process, to grab yours today. I think if I look back on my, Coastal Fitness will be 16 years this year in November. And in that time, I've had lots of different mentors. Some like who have taken like, and it's an official paid role. Some who've just kind of like taken on this role of being a mentor. And like at certain points, like it started as my mum and dad, like they were my
Mhm.
genuine business mentors, and I brought them on to be my directors of the company, because they had loads of business experience. They'd set
What
up
were
their
their
own companies.
businesses?
So dad was always in insurance, and mum was in wine and spirits. So not related to fitness at all, but nuances of business, pretty consistent across the board, right? You need to know your numbers. I was terrible with numbers, like still not great. I've worked really hard on trying to be better with it. Um, Concept of scaling, human resources, like there's so many parallels in different businesses, and there's something to learn from every single person. So they were amazing at the start. Go, what were you thinking?
I just like what a amazing thing to have a mom and dad who knew all of that and could just, you know,
So they did some really cool things when I was a kid, which I thought as a kid like were not cool at all. But looking back, I'm like really grateful for it. So one of them was like pocket money, right? Most of us reach a certain age where like mum and dad start giving you X amount of dollars on a weekly basis. So I would have to present my accounts each week. So I'd had, they bought me a notebook and gave me a calculator with a notebook, and I would have to record all my expenses in the week, come into their room on a Sunday morning, present my accounts. Here's what I spent. Here's how much I have left over, like profit, basically. And then basically, once I'd presented that, they would then give me my next week's pocket money. And I can expense things like taxis, which obviously you start finding loopholes on how to get more money, all that shit. So, but it was a really good like life lesson, which at the time I was like, this is so unnecessary. Everyone else is just getting money thrown at them. It seems easy. But in hindsight, I'm like, awesome. And then I would say that
what a skill.
the day that I started Coastal, I basically went to mum and dad and said, I'm going to become a coach. I want to become a personal trainer. And they kind of asked some really good questions. What does that look like? Who are you working for? I was like, I'm going to work for myself. And they were like, okay, cool. And I'm like, so what do I do? So they're like, well, how are you going to set up a company? Like, where's your money coming from? So I thought, like, shit, I've just finished uni. I don't have any money. And they were basically asking this question to also basically say, well, we're not going to give it to you.
Was this before or after rugby?
So this was like, I was playing rugby at the same time. So I was playing in a Hong Kong setup. We just won. We were preparing for Asian Games. I'm receiving a small salary for being a rugby player. But I just knew that it wasn't really what I deep down wanted. I didn't have the awareness at the time to admit that I didn't want to be a rugby player, because I think being a rugby player was like opportunities and status. And as like an 18-year-old, like ego is a massive thing. It was like, I want to be that guy, but deep down I knew that I didn't really want it. And there was something about coaching that it was just like, I just knew that's what I was going to do. And so I would say the first 3 months of setting up Coastal Fitness, I learned more in 3 months about business than I did in 4 years of doing a business degree. It was like you do everything. Like, you're going to the registration office and you're registering a business. Then you got to build a website. I had receipt books for everything, and it was like everything was manual. I recorded all my accounts in a little black book.
It is
And
so much easier now.
oh my, like crazy.
The AI tech to help with accounting or setting
Everything.
up the business, so much easier now.
I think if I showed people what Coastal Fitness looked like in day one, and that was the
binder.
first fight, yeah, like it's like ancient, genuinely. I mean, it was actually a long time ago, but still, like how fast it's evolved.
Yeah.
I still feel kind of like the same kid as I was 15 years ago. So yeah, and then there was a big spell where I didn't have any mentors. And at some point in time, you kind of outgrow every mentor. They're able to provide for you for a certain amount of time, and then you kind of realize that I'm looking for the next skill set, or I've got the next skill gap, or you're always evolving. And so yeah, I've worked with multiple different business mentors, and business mentor I have right now is actually a part of like a coaching organization. So technically I've got access to 3 business coaches. I've got a Slack channel. I can reach out to these guys whenever I want. It's a big financial investment, but I 100% see
The
the
value.
return on it, and I can justify it. So yeah, my current business mentor is just like, it's exactly what I need for this point in my journey. And I don't know like if this team is going to be the right one for me in the next 10 years, but I can see it being someone like, a group that I want to continue to work with for a really long time.
Amazing.
But I think a big part of that as well was that the funny thing is I had a consult call with this same company 12 years ago.
It just
And
wasn't the right time.
no, I had this call and they were basically like, talk me through your week. And I remember listing out, okay, I'm doing this many PT hours, I'm doing this many group class hours. And they were like, what are you doing? Like, this is really unsustainable. You don't have any time to work on your business. Like, listing out all the do nots of running a business. And I was just not ready to hear it at the time.
I'm there now.
Yeah.
Like my book is full enough. I need to, it always comes to this point with PT, I think, as well, especially in our industry. Like there's market rate and everyone's just kind of like knocking $100 off here, then the next person's, and we're all kind of, I think,
it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah. But I know where I am in my career. I am probably one of the top women's health coaches around pre and postnatal.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be undercutting my services, but also a lot of people can't afford them. And so I guess that's where group class comes in, right? But what I need now is a team that's passionate and wants to be educated and is hungry to learn and wants to work with this demographic. But I think it's hard.
I think that it's funny. You said earlier when you were analyzing your business skill set compared to Dan, your husband's, is that you have this tendency to like, you want to please everyone. And I think, it's something you just said there, which is, oh, but if I increase my prices, I can't serve everyone. And I think that is a loophole that so many people get stuck in. Because it's like, if you want to serve everyone, then, well, A, that's not possible. Because if we think about it on a really, really simple level, the world is split. We can look at it this way in the fitness industry. You got people with not much money who want to do fitness, and you have people with a lot of money who want to do fitness. Now, if you're putting out one offering, you're trying to serve both of them, you're not going to serve any of them. Because truth be told, People, lower earners don't want to mix with higher earners, and higher earners don't want to mix with lower earners.
True.
Higher earners want something that is high ticket exclusively for them. And of course, the value we provide has to match that. Low ticket people, this is why Globo gyms are just crushing it right now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's why fitness apps are crushing it.
fitness apps are crushing it, right? It's like but it's a product that is targeting that demographic.
Yes.
And the 24/7 gym model is booming. It still is, right? Because they are offering amazing gyms. Like Go24, the equipment in that place is sick.
The new Onyx.
Onyx,
Yeah.
exactly. And these places are like, they're less than half the price of what we charge.
Yes.
And I look at it, I'm like, they've got a way more premium facility. They've got beautiful change rooms. They're 24/7 access. They've got the latest equipment, and they're charging nothing for it.
And so why do people keep coming back to Coastal?
Well,
do you think?
my answer to that is that we kind of coming back to like this whole dichotomy of like the fitness industry right now. It's like you can offer a low ticket and speak to the masses and probably do quite well. Or you can offer a really high ticket and speak to, more affluent people and do quite well, but you're going to serve less people, but the return on investment per person is going to be much, much higher. Now, if you get stuck in the middle of those two things, that's kind of like no man's land in the fitness world right now. So it's when you're trying to either serve both, you're not going to end up serving any. So you kind of got to pick which of those two you want to. And the way that I look at it is that, well, if you're going to offer low ticket, for example, our online programs are pretty low ticket, right? Quite cheap. You can step in anytime you want, no commitment. You can quit anytime you want as well. But if I made the gym a low ticket, I can't compete with 24/7 gyms. Like, they're just way more beautiful. There's way more locations, way more accessible. They get so much more for their money. Why would anyone come here? So, we have to think about that. I think boutique gyms and freelance personal trainers got to really think about, well, where do you want to position yourself in the market? And I think for you, kind of what you just said there is that, you are a high ticket coach because you have all this amazing experience. You're really damn good at what you do. I know that, if you were to ask me where you sit within the spectrum of women's health coaches, like I would 100% put you up there.
Thanks, Ed.
But, the thing is, if you want to please and serve everyone, then you can't.
Yeah.
And if, you start, that's the whole idea of this race to the bottom.
Are you my business coach?
This is completely turned now. But this whole concept
but
this whole concept of racing to the bottom, right? Where it's just like everyone's undercutting each other and everyone's serving, you're just driving down the price point for everything. Then it's like the quality is just crap all around. Like differentiate yourself because you can. And I think this is where I think we see this a lot in the fitness industry now, where anyone can go on social media. They can become that. I'm looking for 5 millionaires to transform your life now, right? And you don't need to show credentials. You can look fit and probably gain trust on an Instagram profile pretty quickly. But you have the credentials. Like you've got, you just talked us through, what your history in the fitness industry looks like. You've worked with some of the best and learned from the best. Like you should be charging more.
Thanks.
What are your thoughts on all that?
I agree. It's just putting it into practice. I think it always feels like the leap.
Yeah.
And then I love giving people lots of notice because I like lots of notice.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what I need to do. Who knew this is what I was going to get out of coming today? Some really good sage advice.
Well, I think maybe this is a good chance for us to actually just talk about the industry. Like, what have you, so you came into Hong Kong in 2014. Like, you're a Hong Kong kid as well. So we've kind of known each other for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I've just been watching your journey unfold primarily through social media.
Yeah.
And obviously then you came to Coastal Fitness. You introduced, one of our best mates to the gym, Ali Reese. He's going to love the fact that I just mentioned him. God, did I just did that? But, and then, you've just been, making such a splash in Hong Kong and doing such a good job. But what have you seen since 2014? Like, has anything evolved? What trends are you seeing? Because you've evolved a lot in the fitness industry as well.
I think that's just because I became a mom though. Like, and my time got changed and split. And the type of training that I wanted to do was. But in terms of the industry, all there was Pure. When back then, we were all members of Pure. You guys had Smack.
Yeah, which is a commercial gym for those not in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Pure Hong Kong, and it was high end, and it was I don't know what it was back then, around the 1,000 mark, but lots of Les Mills.
Yeah.
And they kind of haven't changed. Their model is still very much that, and it's Les Mills
Which
classes.
is, when I was just talking about that, the two ends of the spectrum, the kind of like barbell analogy,
Yeah.
I feel like they have now gotten stuck almost in the
Mm.
middle because
Mm.
they're not high ticket. Like we're more expensive, much more expensive than a pure gym.
Yes.
And they're kind of competing with the 24/7s, the Onyxes,
Yes.
the Go 24s, but they're not 24/7.
No.
They've still got high costs. They've got lots of staff on board. So I feel, and this I don't really know what the model is because I haven't really researched it, but my like perception looking from the outside in is I think that's where they're kind of stuck right now.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
think they're going
Because
that
the
way.
24/7 gym model wasn't a thing then.
No.
And I think U Time was the first one in Hong Kong. And
Is
they
that
were
still around?
I think there's still a couple around.
Yeah.
But they kind of started the whole 24/7 thing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you've got gyms like 10 times the size of that, even
Yes.
cheaper. And it's like you're always going to go to those ones.
You know why I think 24/7 works really well in Hong Kong, even more so, is because it's ridiculously safe here. And
Mm,
so being a woman doing hip thrusts at 10, 11 p.m. at night in a gym with no one else around, I'm not scared. I'm not
mm.
worried about being followed home or anything like that. Whereas
Have you experienced that somewhere else where you haven't felt safe?
no, but I have seen videos of it at 24/7 gyms in, say, like the States or something
Really?
like that. You see the CCTV camera footage, yeah,
I
of
did not know that.
people just tapping their card, letting someone else in, "Oh, I forgot my card," and then being assaulted and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sorry to bring a downer.
No, it's true.
But
I
it's a
just never.
reality that we don't experience here, the
Mm,
safety aspect of it. And people work different markets here. So lots of people will work a UK market, a New York market, and the time they train isn't just 9 to 5. It isn't our 6 a.m. We, funnily enough, one of our busiest times is like 3, 4 p.m., which is
mm.
normal people's downtime. But we have so many flexi workers, people who work from home, who just live in the area. They come down at that time. Very odd.
Interesting. Was that, I guess, because you guys opened in the pandemic, you won't have the data to know if that was a trend pre-pandemic versus post.
Very true. Yeah, I wouldn't know. And what also was a saving grace in the pandemic for us was becoming a freelance gym. So
Hmm.
PTs come, they pay space rental, they run their own businesses. We're just the facility. And that's been really good for us on our end. We don't actually have a lot of staffed coaches. We make a lot of money from freelance PT.
How did you guys land or decide on going down that route?
I think Dan did it because that's where he was at.
Hmm.
And he had been freelancing out of smaller gyms, but they were always dirty. Some of the other trainers wouldn't clean up, put their stuff back. And I think he wanted an aspect of control around that and being able to say, these are the rules and the standards. And if you don't like them, you can leave.
Hmm.
Essentially vetting the types of freelance PTs he wanted
Yes.
within the space. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously we don't do any of that.
Yeah.
But I've always been aware of it being a potential model that we can go down. Um, and I've never done it because I've always just envisioned just having a team. Like I always just think back to like sports days, right? Of like having everyone, playing for the badge on the shirt. And that's always been the environment I've tried to create.
I think as well, you guys provide a lot of education for your staff. You
Yeah.
provide a lot of value and like a lot of community, whereas Dan's not interested in any of that at the vault. He's
Yeah.
more interested in the numbers and, and running it like that business rather
Yeah.
than training a lot of staff and educating them in that way.
Yeah. I think a lot of gym owners would really resonate with that as well. I think managing people is probably the hardest part of just running a business. And it still
Yeah.
is for me. For us, like the biggest headaches and the trials and tribulations are always around people.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I concur.
I agree. But I don't know. I've heard previous podcasts where you've said you are non-emotional when it comes to things. You don't know how to handle other people's emotions, which I find really interesting because I have people cry on me every single day during PT.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just my energy that brings that.
Was this Izzy saying that I'm crap with emotions?
Yeah, but you've
Yeah.
gotten better.
Yeah.
And it
I
was
think
around management styles.
Izzy's like favorite thing to bring up is just how shit I used to be with emotions, which is 100% valid.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think with and I think that was honestly reflected in a lot of my relationships with my clients as well. And I've
Mm.
had, I've still got clients I've coached for over 15 years, but our relationship as I have become, more honest, open and vulnerable has just like, has deepened over time. But I think a lot of honestly my early coaching relationships were quite superficial.
Interesting. Whereas my background was in psychology, my undergrad was in psychology. So I got into the more personal side of personal training
Yeah.
rather than the training side.
Yeah, I honestly think that like my strong point was that I could just get results with people
Yes.
and I was really consistent.
I've been told that this is my selling point. I'm
Yeah.
pointing to my mouth for our audio
Yeah.
listeners rather than like my beautiful programs or anything
Yeah.
like that. That's how I've managed to retain clients is through connection and like friendships. Yeah. And essentially they do become friends.
Yeah, it's interesting because yeah, so our roots as developing coaches have been opposite, right? You've come in with like the soft skills, the relationship
Mm.
building, the emotional intelligence, and have kind of like developed the coaching skill set and the program design, assessment, etc. I think I've always been a personable person. Like I can get along with people very well, but as I said, I think the relationships back in the day were a lot more surface level.
Yeah.
And then, but I went deep into the programming methodology, the science stuff really early on.
Do you remember when CrossFit became really big in Hong Kong?
Yeah,
Like,
because
I
we
feel
were part of
like,
that wave.
yeah, I feel like CrossFit kind of then separated the gym of the Globo gym, the commercial gym, and the Fitness First, the whatever chain it was, I can't remember now. But and then CrossFit came in. And then there was sort of this breakaway from CrossFit to boutique gym that did similar CrossFit style workouts without Olympic lifting.
Yeah,
And now I feel like then it just became boutique gym.
yeah, yeah. I would say that's yeah. If I think back to it, I mean, when I think about coastal fitness and our evolution, I remember when I first started coaching, going, I was paying all the freelance places, like the equivalent of a vault, to do most of my coaching. And I would speak to the other trainers who'd been in the industry for way longer than I had, 5, 10 years. And they would say like, what's the plan? And I'd say, I'm going to open up my own gym. And everyone would say, you're crazy. Like no one does that. No one opens boutique gyms. It's not a thing. You can't be successful. And I was just a bit too young and naive to even question it. But I was just like, I'm going to do it. Like I'm gonna, I'm not gonna listen to you. You clearly haven't done it. That's why you're still in a PT gym. So like, who says you can't do it? Why can't I do this thing?
And you guys did, and it was so successful.
But I mean, the interim was, with the CrossFit stuff is that we started investigating CrossFit ourselves. So this is kind of like 2000 and 10, 11.
Yeah, early.
Yeah, and so we were running Smack, our outdoor sessions, which like the Smack days were awesome. Like we were coaching over 300 people every week in
That's
Smack classes,
wild.
and
Outdoors
we
in Hong Kong.
outdoors in Hong Kong everywhere. Like we were in every school, coaching all the staff. We were in all the football pitches. Like it was just nuts. And we had like all we had was kettlebells, fake TRXs from China, and like sandbags that we would basically nick from the football pitches when they were lying around. And we basically started like experimenting with like WODs,
Yes.
AMRAPs, rounds for time. We were doing like wall walks, we were doing thrusters, we were doing kettlebell swings, like all sorts of just random stuff, just experimenting. And then we were playing around as coaches, myself, Bratz, and Ant,
Mhm.
with CrossFit.com workouts, in the football club gym, which was not built for it at all. We were doing kip and pull-ups on a slanted pull-up
Yeah,
bar
yeah.
that were like cheese graters.
Wow.
So yeah, I remember, we were kind of catching a bug ourselves, and there was only one CrossFit gym in Hong Kong at the time, which was Asphodel. They were kind of like,
OG.
and they were proper like grungy. That's what I thought CrossFit was. Where I did my CrossFit level 1 was in Singapore, CrossFit Singapore.
Warehouse.
It was like rough,
Yeah,
and it was like no air cons, 36 degrees
in
and
Singapore.
humidity, and I'm like, is this cool? Like, is this not? And I kind of felt pretty cool as well. Like you kind of, it's a real like grungy community. People are working hard, Everyone's got their tops off.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, I just loved it.
And that was the thing as well, topless workouts.
That was never a thing before.
I really don't think it was. And
No.
then CrossFit made topless workouts like a thing. Like you would take your top off for the WOD.
But it was also because everyone was shredded then.
Yeah.
Because we were all like running away from carbohydrates, eating fuck all calories.
Yes.
So everyone was genuinely shredded. And most people got into CrossFit. They went from like not really training hard to beasting themselves every day. So short-term benefits were like massive, right? Like a calorie expenditure and, you know, actually adding intensity and training to failure became a thing, which most people weren't doing. And everyone was on calorie deficit. So everyone just got so shredded so fast.
Shredded. And then in the level 1, there's a whole bit about rhabdo.
Yeah. And we all had it. And it was awesome. No, but so yeah, CrossFit just was just a really cool thing. I mean, when we opened up, we said, okay, listen, like, we didn't think that going super rustic was going to work in Hong Kong. You know, at first, when we first started designing the gym, we were like, do we need air cons? And then, you know, very quickly, like, we need air cons. Like, we can't not have that.
You need nice changing rooms. You need nice towels. You
Exactly.
need nice service.
But at the time, that wasn't a part of CrossFit. So when we
Yeah.
opened Coastal Fitness, and even in our first space, we were already like, wow, this place
So
is
high
so
end.
nice. People would walk
Yeah.
in and be like, whoa. And I look back at it now, I'm like, it's still a little bit rough
But
around the
anytime you
edges.
get a visitor coming in, because I remember our box in the UK would just have like an honesty box where
Yeah.
if you took something from the fridge, you needed to put money
We had
in.
one of those as well.
Yeah. And that was kind of like CrossFit culture.
Lost so much money.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
legitimately lost so much money.
Yes.
Just the way
Yeah.
that we used to handle the business. But yeah, CrossFit just had this massive rise of, and I think because it was just so different. Like, there was nothing in the fitness industry, not just in Hong Kong, but I think worldwide, there was just nothing of that sort, like, you know, grungy, community-based, working really hard. And you just attracted like this like group of people, a lot of them like from export or, you know, who just kind of like a friend, apart
Or
from you.
absolute noobs.
Or
you
absolute
know,
noobs,
like
yeah.
I hadn't done any real fitness
Yeah.
until I started doing CrossFit.
Olympic lifting, like,
Yeah.
you didn't Olympic lift unless you're an elite athlete.
Yeah.
You know, even like in the Hong Kong rugby team, we would do a hang power clean and that was about it. Like, I'd never snatched before, I'd never done an overhead squat. So just these just really cool, unique elements that I think were just interesting to people.
But that's what I really liked about Coastal was because you guys had that Poliquin background.
Yeah.
You saw the population you were working with as this is a desk worker. Hey guys, in our warm-ups today before our Oli lifts, we're going to work on your overhead mobility.
Yeah.
But just something that if you went into a level 1 with no prior coaching experience, you wouldn't think about that because you don't think of the body that way.
Yeah. We actually didn't program snatching for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We actually said, like, I don't think in our live program, we're like, why do people need to do this? We had no kipping, we had no snatching. Part of it was because I couldn't snatch.
Wow.
And I was like too proud that I was like, well, if I can't snatch, I can't have my member snatch. But there was a big health and safety thing. It was like, do people really need to do this?
Yeah, good thing your dad's in insurance, right?
Yeah, exactly. As we evolved, like, you know, that's become a part of it. But we've always been dead set, like, on this, like, live, perform, compete, 3 different levels for 3 different people and try to, like, blend that thing together to make sure that people are safe and progressing. That's still a part of the methodology now. But I just think that, yeah, kind of going back to, like, the rise of CrossFit, I just think it was so new that people just needed a little taste of it. And I think especially, like, as rugby players, it really resonates to people who play hard sports, I think, because it was like that was training rather than, you know, cleans and pull-ups and burpees. We were like, you know, throwing tires and pushing prowlers and sleds, kind of the same feeling, you know.
And then like niche lifting came in, so strongman.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Bikini fit.
Yes.
Outdoor
They crushed it.
lifting. Yeah.
Well, actually, you know, before we opened a gym, outdoor fitness was huge. So when
Yes.
in our SMAC days, by the way, guys, SMAC stands for it's actually such a shit name. Strength, mobility, and conditioning was what it stood for, not heroin, just in case you were thinking that.
Is that what people thought?
Just
But you would
people-
get so addicted to it.
Oh, we never played that angle.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, but there was a company called Boot Camp in Hong Kong. Nathan Sully, I think he owns Elite PT in Aberdeen. I don't know if that's still going now, but he had bought the boot camp license to Hong Kong, and it was huge.
Mm.
Like there was a boot camp session happening all over Hong Kong, and it was like, army camouflage pants, like body
It
weight
was
workouts.
themed.
It was called boot camp. It was Hong Kong boot camp, and it was just nuts. It got massive. So everyone started training outdoors, and I think this was like the early days of like doing like rustic fitness. Everyone's just doing push-ups, burpees, like
Yeah.
swinging kettlebells and stuff. And then there was a company called Circuit 25. So a guy broke off, or I don't know if he broke off, but he basically created a rival company to boot camp. And basically everywhere you go in Hong Kong, every football pitch, you go around the peak, any
They
trail,
were
any little
both
pub,
there.
it was either boot camp or Circuit 25. And
Wow.
these guys were just crushing it. No
So they were
overheads.
doing pandemic before we were all forced to do
Yeah,
it.
literally. That's exactly what they're doing. And we started Smack because that was a movement. It was like big outdoor group fitness.
Do you remember how much you charged per person?
Well, like firstly, I would say that most people didn't even charge
Yeah.
because our systems were so shoddy. We would basically walk down with a plastic like folder, the ones that like sealed on two sides and open.
Yeah.
And we would just basically stand there and be like, right, who owes money? And some people would be like, oh, I think I owe you for like a couple of sessions. Be like, okay, I think
But
that's
I forgot my
$300.
wallet, so I'll
So,
get you in 2 weeks'
and we
time.
would just throw this money into this plastic wallet, and like, we would walk away and money just be falling out of this wallet. And like we just shove it into the kit bag with all the TRXs and shit. And we'd be like digging out TRX and be like, oh, found $500.
Amazing.
I'm like, oh my God, there's so much money that we left on the table
But like,
because we
what
were
a
just so
great
shoddy.
experience, though, to like have transformed and done it all, and now look at your facility.
No, I mean, yeah, amazing. We'd have paper receipts we'd write out for each person. We'd tear one for us. So here you go, Ziggy, like, thank you for paying. And we would totally lose track. We had like one master spreadsheet and, basic, because we were all running smacks all over Hong Kong. We would meet at the end of the week in the football club. And I'd say, right, guys, bring all your money in and like basically dump it with me. And, we'd have like brats carrying like a welcome bin bag, like a welcome shopping bag. And we'd have like some brown envelope with a rip in the bottom. I'd have my clear plastic folder. We just dump all this cash on the table and be like, you start tallying it up and being like, we're like 70K short here.
When
It's all good.
did online systems and payment systems come in for you guys?
Not until we had a gym.
Yeah.
I don't think they were there. I just didn't have the know-how to even think about having a system like that.
But even just like online banking wasn't, there was no
No,
pay
online
me,
banking wasn't happening.
no Ali, whatever.
No.
And
It was still the dongle. You had to like go through all those steps. Nothing on a
yes.
phone.
Wow. Doesn't that make you feel old?
I'm quite old. My team reminds me every single day.
That's wild.
But it's evolved a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when we opened up a gym, it was like I genuinely feel that in some ways us opening a gym was like a bit of a wake up call to a lot of other coaches in Hong Kong
That
to
you
say that
could.
you can do it.
Yeah.
Like I got lucky that I had, one of my old rugby teammates was opening a gym at the same time. And he said, should we just join forces? I'll look after all the contractual stuff. I'll get it all built out. Like you just come in, we'll just split the cost. I was like, sweet. I would have no idea what the hell to do with any of that stuff. So let's just do it. And that was the original Warrior.
Yes, I
because remember we were
remember.
50-50 with the kickboxing place.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of people saw, and I was young, like, I started coaching at 20. And I think us doing that for a lot of people in Hong Kong, like, oh, yeah, I think you can do it. And I think all of a sudden there was this rise in CrossFit gyms. I think in a year, we went from being the second CrossFit gym in Hong Kong. And I think we had there was 10 in the next.
I remember Greg Glassman, sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, but him saying when questioned, aren't you worried about this expansive growth? And he was like, no, because the quality ones will stay and the ones that don't work won't work and people won't go.
He always said that, yeah.
And it happened in Hong Kong. I think there's 3-4 boxes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think that's true for
Any
business in
industry.
any industry. Yeah.
What's sad is with the pandemic, we had so many boutique studios. And because of the restrictions, the high rents in Hong Kong, we saw so many of other modalities, not just like gyms, but your yoga studios, your Pilates, small independent places that just could not survive.
Yeah.
Big ones that couldn't survive.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's like, it's easy to sit. I get asked a question all the time, like, how did you guys survive the pandemic? And why did all the other ones close down? It's like, there could be a million reasons as to why other ones closed down.
My theory is community.
I think that's a massive one. Yeah.
I think it's the thing that kept people loyal and wanted to help us stay afloat,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think really honest communication. I mean, it was like, the pandemic was not a time for making money. And I think if that became the objective,
Yeah.
in a time when everyone was in need. And I
Yeah.
know you can look at this and be like, that's just stupid. Like, businesses shouldn't have to suffer. But it was just like the times that we're living in. It was like you just needed to help everyone and just hope that you were creating some goodwill and building loyalty in a community, that it would help you one day in the future.
Yeah.
And that's kind of honestly what we were just banking on. And we were 2 weeks away from full bankruptcy,
I
which was
believe it.
nuts.
I believe it. So many of us were. Dan hired a van and stuck a bunch of equipment in a van and would drive around Hong Kong and just find a space and then do a bunch of clients and drive to another area of Hong Kong.
I mean, the process programming was born out of the pandemic.
So clever.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally so lucky that the tech to be able to charge people for an online program on our platform literally got launched 3 months before the pandemic.
So this also is what stopped me from going full online, because I had decided after my second child, I wasn't going to go back to in-person training anymore and do mummy baby fitness. I wanted to go full into being online full-time content creator and produce small follow-along videos for home with my real postnatal body.
Yeah.
And everyone at the exact same time was doing the exact same thing. And I was like, I'll just go back to what I know makes money right now, and went back to in-person training.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, it's just such the rise of like the fitfluencer and just
Yeah.
online businesses just went nuts. And I think we got really lucky when we launched the process. We were like one of the only ones in Asia. And then just suddenly it just went crazy. But I remember speaking to, we use PodUp as our app for workout delivery and athlete tracking. I've been on to those guys for like 3 years, being like, guys, we need to make this a chargeable thing, because there is this whole world out there that we could be tapping into and serving, and we could just make this a really scalable business for you. And they were kind of like, no, I don't really want to do it. Not
Were they
interested.
local to here?
Yeah, so actually the
I didn't know
founder,
that.
yeah, founder of What Up was one of my clients for about 5 years. And so we would sit in these PT sessions like, mate, you got to do this now. Like, I'm telling you, it's a gold mine for you. And I would just love to be able to serve more people in an online space.
I think Ed needs his 10%.
No, he's been amazing to us, and it's been a great partnership. But I mean, like, yeah, the online training thing, that's just a whole new thing as well. But let's get back on track with like talking about the evolution of the fitness industry. I agree. After CrossFit, I think within kind of 4 years of rise of like the boutique gyms, we saw like, chains from the US and like, really big successful places like Orange Theory,
Did
Barry's
they come
Boot Camp.
here?
Yeah, they did. They weren't successful though.
Interesting. Because I feel like there's a group of Hong Kong people who really love those chains. I think they do so well in Singapore.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what it is about here.
Singapore has a very fit market. I think
Yeah.
there's something about the fact that a lot of them have to do military service as a part of like being a Singaporean national. There is like just a fitness culture ingrained in them.
Right.
It's interesting because like the national teams in sport aren't great. I know they should be, like, given like how athletic they are. CrossFit is like, Singapore don't have that many high level CrossFitters. Like Hong Kong has always outdone them at the top of the game.
Do you think they're just too polite in Singapore? That's
Maybe.
what it is.
I don't know what it is. Like they have a lot of really strong athletes. I think they seem to like gravitate a lot towards like power sports, like Olympic lifting and powerlifting.
Interesting.
But I think, given how small the population is, like they're a fit group. And I think if you walk around Singapore, you just feel there's a lot of fit people. I think Hong Kong has become that as well. Like when I went to the first High Rocks, which was, 3 and a bit years ago, I was blown away. And I mean, now there's over 20,000, 15,000 people going through the doors on a High Rocks weekend.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, I think we had 2,500 people competing. So it's like, it's more than 5x since then.
High Rocks came at a really amazing time, I think, because for us in Hong Kong, it felt like that first FWE High Rocks year where contestants didn't have to wear masks, but
Yeah.
people walking around did. It felt like our first big fitness wellness event after
Yeah.
a while. And that felt like community. And it felt like there was this light at the end of the tunnel that we were going to have our lives back and that people could start doing events again. And I don't know what you call it, like interbattles, intergroup
Yeah.
showdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. Throwdowns.
Yeah, throwdowns.
Yeah. I think High Rocks is amazing. And I also think that I was blown away by how many fit people were at High Rocks.
What do you mean?
Like everyone was jacked.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I thought, okay, we've done CrossFit for a long time. We're
Yeah.
gonna walk into this thing and just wipe the floor, right? Because everyone else is just bodybuilding or not doing functional fitness. And I remember just walking around being like, holy shit, there's way more fit people in Hong Kong than I had given credit to.
Because you're stuck within the confines
Yeah,
of your own space,
you stay in
right?
your little bubble, right? And I think post-pandemic, the Hong Kong fitness, I think just like relationship with fitness evolved a lot.
Yeah, we've also seen it within food, right? Like people wanted better food
Yeah.
options. And now then the rise of the meals companies that just sort you for the week.
Yeah.
There are so many now. And I've lost my train of thought.
Well, yeah, just like the change in like Hong Konger, because
Yeah.
I think Hong Kong when I first started Coastal was like running and yoga, massive, the vast majority. Obviously, we're talking older generations, we're talking Tai Chi and stuff. So there's a movement culture ingrained in the locals, but it's not hard.
Yes.
It's not hard, intense training. And as a CrossFit gym in 2013, like we're terrifying. And I think we're still quite terrifying to a lot of people. But I think it was just like, what are you doing? Like this, why would you do that to yourself? But I think with High Rocks, now I think the local population, like High Rocks is hard. Like,
Yes.
you're flogging yourself in a High Rocks race. And the fact that now we have, over 10,000 races and a lot of those being local, like the mindset around pushing yourself in fitness, that is something that has stuck out to me massively in the last 5 years.
I think this big resurgence in running as well
Massive.
has also helped High Rocks. Or I don't know which
100%.
one has
But the
helped the
thing
other.
is, yeah, exactly. I don't know which one's the chicken and which one's the egg. But when you look at High Rocks, they're not just like skinny runners.
No, they're
Like
jacked
people, like
runners.
there's abs and there's like muscles and there's traps and like and girls as well. It's awesome. Like, and I think when I look at the fitness industry now in Hong Kong specifically, I think High Rocks has really helped this because it's not just running. Like you have to do these other things as well to be good at a High Rocks race, and people want to be a part of that thing right now.
But still accessible enough that you can do it with 3 other friends and not be
And you can do it
intimidated.
in your Globo gym.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be a specialist facility.
Well, now all the 24/7 places have the
Have
wall
everything.
balls and the
Yeah.
sleds. Everywhere's got a sled now.
Yeah. And I think it's this really cool movement of people in Hong Kong who are not afraid to work hard anymore,
Yes.
which it makes us a little bit less like
Intimidating.
yeah, taboo and intimidating because like, oh, it's a norm. Like we've pushed ourselves. So before it was like we were just this kind of black sheep, super like massive anomaly, for really like performance driven people. That was like, but now it's like, oh, we've done things like that before. We've done wall balls. We use barbells. We push ourselves hard. Like we're lying on our back sometimes at the end of a training session. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the
I,
growth.
I also think when I think about the future, and I'd be curious to hear what you think. Like when I think about the future of gyms like us, I actually think this massive rise in High Rocks is going to be amazing for us.
It already is. It's benefited, I think, every single gym in Hong Kong.
For
Everyone
sure.
has a High Rocks class. Everyone's affiliated. Coaches are doing a special certification now just to make themselves more legitimate. So I think it's going to benefit all of us, and then it's making us. I mean, it's not why I started running, but
Yeah.
it definitely contributed because I hate running. But I knew I had to do a High Rocks with some clients, and so I was like, I should probably be able to do a K.
But I also think that there's going to be this, it's not a drop off market, but I think right now a lot of people have the High Rocks bug. And
And we've had the Tough Mudder, the Spartan,
yeah,
the
I think a natural evolution in fitness for a lot of people is that it's like looking for the next challenge, right? So I think it's like why CrossFit was an easy thing that a lot of people gravitated to, especially if they were athletes or they were competitive in something else. I know that that wasn't you, was because it was like, wow, this looks like really challenging. Like you've got to do, like, how am I going to learn to muscle up? How am I going to learn how to walk on my hands or do a snatch? Like that was why I got into it.
That's why I
There were so many
joined.
things I couldn't do, and I was like, I've been doing fitness my whole life, as an insecure teenager, and then, as a professional rugby player. And it was like, well, there's so much stuff in here that I've never done before. Like I was very attracted to it.
Have you ever gotten into calisthenics?
I have like had big bouts of like, doing Ido Portal's programs, trying to get one arm chin up, trying to do planche progressions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've gone like deep into all those things at some point.
Yeah, but never stuck.
I think it's just I wasn't very good at it. It's not, and I didn't have the patience to like go from being shit to being mediocre.
Yeah. I remember when that was a big trend and then people were trying to do it out in the parks
Yeah.
and then they started making their own little gyms, but I don't know if any of them are still successful because how do you pay rent with body weight movements?
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah, it's
challenging.
tough. Yeah, so I actually think the future's quite bright for like high skill, high complexity gyms, like Olympic lifting,
I think we
like the
also
CrossFit
have
places.
the benefit of being in a place where people have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they'll always want to pay for quality. So no matter what it is, they'll want it. They'll there will always be a place. I think there will always be a place for coastal as well because you guys are evolving so much. You're online now, you're in person, you're doing education. And that's where businesses have to go, right? Because you get stunted, you become that middle that you talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to keep on evolving with the times.
And at some point, like student becomes teacher,
Yeah.
and we have to become educators for students.
What about the vault? Like, what do you guys see, when you think about the future and where the fitness industry is heading? And I mean, you mentioned AI as well. Like, do you guys incorporating and integrating AI into your business? And do you think about the future?
We do. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say
Yeah.
without Dan being present, but there's a plan. I would also like to, on just my personal side, maybe veer off from the vault and then create my birth space.
Yeah.
One day, maybe 5 years from now.
Nice.
But there is a plan to add recovery in. I know you guys have do you have a cold plunge?
Yeah.
And little infrared sauna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a coal sauna.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
Does that require anything different? Like,
I think practicality for us, it just heats up faster.
yeah,
And because we're doing 30-minute slots, the infrared is just not, yeah,
hot enough.
it's not hot enough for people to get enough out of it in that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And then hopefully new location
Mm,
or multiple locations.
nice. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, just having the gym membership side is nice where it doesn't all rely on PT to be the big ticket earner.
Yeah.
And it's nice just having members come in, you chit chat, you say hi. I like that.
Yeah, you like the community side. So do I.
I like just having people around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very much the same. I mean, it's interesting. So, recently I've been looking at revamping all of our lifestyle protocols, things around sleep, nutrition, stress, movement. And I've been using AI to drive a lot of the creation of these manuals.
Yeah.
And obviously, we run an education course where, students have to submit assignments, and, it's very like this, the standard of assignments is just going up all the time because people are just getting really savvy on AI. And we say like, listen, like you should use it as a tool. But like, don't go, don't make your whole assignment based fully on
This
AI.
is just me not utilizing AI enough. I will use it to basically transcribe what I'm saying and make
Yeah.
it sound a little bit better occasionally.
Which
and
is
then I
which is
proofread.
great. I think that's probably how most people use it. But as someone who is like super geeky on programming, AI is getting really damn good at programming.
I still don't love it when I've been like, maybe I'm not prompting
Yeah,
well
I think
enough.
you just need to prompt it well. Like it's damn good. I mean,
Mm.
like it wouldn't replace. I think in the world of CrossFit, which is very nuanced and super confusing. I think you could build a model to have AI do it for you, but I think it's just a little bit too complex and a little bit too random in many ways. But like if you want a 20, I think they just did this thing in the news. I think the SCMP just reported recently, this guy, he basically was X number of pounds overweight and he wanted to go on a weight loss challenge, and he basically dedicated his entire fitness program to AI and basically like put in all the things he wanted to achieve. It gave him his food plans, his training plans, XYZ. And I think he'd set something like a 12-week timeline, and he got there in like 6 weeks. And he just religiously followed it.
And but then what where I think us as coaches, we won't then be eliminated because AI is doing all of this is, but what about the person who isn't compliant? Like, what about the person who's slightly demotivated? I think they need that human element to be like, hey, man, come on. Where
Listen,
are
I
you?
totally
Show
agree.
up.
But now that, like, kids have these like AI boyfriends and AI girlfriends, and these basically like these chatbots who have like an AI presence, like they look a certain way. You can make your girlfriend or boyfriend look however you want, and you can have your AI coach. And they are doing a lot of the jobs that an accountability buddy or coach would do. And it's nuts. And I think the biggest thing that I have taken away from this, I'm like, this is scary how good this stuff is now. And like, I'm only on, Chat GPT 4, 5, whatever what the model is. And like, there are way better, way more advanced models than this.
It
And I
reminds me
think
of that film Surrogates
I haven't
with
watched
Bruce
it.
Willis.
I haven't watched it. But anyway, I brought this back to my team. I'm like, guys, this just emphasizes exactly what we need to be elite at. And we need to be amazing at accountability. We've got to be amazing at coaching, and we've got to be amazing at building relationships, which
Yes.
is, relationship and community being those two things. And really, when I think about our gym business now, that's it. It's relationships, accountability, and coaching. Community falls into a fourth. And I think, previously in the early days of my coaching, it was all about training programs, results. I just think that's changing now. And I think if you can't be personable, don't know how to develop that relationship with a person and, bring people together, I think the gym industry is going to be really hard, especially if you're in this, like, in the more boutique space.
That's usually my number one, like the soft skills
Yeah.
when I'm speaking to people and when I see them work within a team. And when the team doesn't gel well and I can feel people start to have a little bit of friction, I'm like, how do I then approach this conversation with the person that's having the friction?
Yeah.
Because being the people pleaser, I don't want to offend them, but I want them to be aware that this is what's happening, because the homeostasis and the happiness of the group is what's really important to me, because I just feel like you want to show up to a place where you're happy to be there.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk in feeling awkward or insecure, or how am I being?
Yeah.
But you still want to be you.
Yeah. No, I think you have those great soft skills. You're very good at making
Thanks.
people feel included.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I think,
I'm so sorry. I didn't talk about any fitness trends or any
no, you
fitness.
did. I think,
I've been listening to all your wisdom.
no, I know you contribute a lot of really good stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I just think the future is just, I think it's going to be a real nice blend of exactly all the things you just talked about, being relatable, personable, building communities, building relationships. But I think if you can also embody the cool stuff that's happening with tech, it's like, yeah, fitness is going to be awesome. And I think that's where we need to step up a little bit.
I wonder what the next trend is going to be, because I did not foresee it being that people were going to have recovery stations inside their gyms. I didn't think that's what it was going to be.
I
Next
mean,
thing will be beds.
we're currently looking at, I mean, I always try and chat with like business owners around the world and just hear like what they're doing and what fitness trends are catching on. I met with a guy recently who has just opened up this sauna workout chain in Paris. And he's taken a concept from the US, and he basically has, it's infrared saunas, and in the infrared sauna, there's a screen. You've got spin bikes and you got like light dumbbells and yoga mats. That's it.
And you
And
just do a heated workout.
you do it. You book a 15-minute slot, 15 minutes. There's no coach. And you basically just select your workout. And, their thing is that, the calories you burn in 15 minutes are equivalent to like 2 hours of zone two, is basically the whole hypothesis. So they have these four
Is that
pods.
accurate?
It's, well, that was a spiel that was said to me, but zone 2 adaptations that's volume. So you can't cheat it by
Yeah.
doing 50 minutes. And that's at least my
You mean I
understanding of the
can't wear this
science.
machine on my
No,
tummy to give me abs?
I actually bought one of those machines.
Did it work?
The Abtronic. No, it didn't work. It just gave me a really nasty rash. Anyway,
That's what you
so
get.
so as an example, this is a crazy fitness trend that's happening right now, and they're going bonkers because it's so scalable. You can have 4 saunas, and you're charging people on the 15 minutes, which means you can have like silly amount of people on the hour
What's
getting in
so
there.
funny is I don't think it would work in Hong Kong because everyone's
It's
15
too,
minutes late for everything.
and it's Hong Kong's a sauna all the time anyway.
Truth.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I was like, isn't it just hot yoga, but now you've added in dumbbells?
But again, the cell, we were talking about transformations, right? That people can have the dream body and fix all their problems in 6 weeks. This is now 15 minutes.
Yes.
So it's like you don't have to do an hour's class anymore, which is too much to people. I can just get the same results in 50 minutes. Amazing.
I get this a lot with women of a certain age where so women are having children later in life. So their collagen makeup is slightly different from when you're younger. And the results or the body composition results that they want post birth at a later age isn't what you would have when you're 25, 26, or even early 30s. And a lot of women I see now are 40 plus having children for the first time. And so they do want instant results and they're so used to the medi spas or the Botox or the facials where you see the instant gratification. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You have to commit to weeks, months, years for this to work. Whereas now they go to medi spa, they get the fat sculpting thing.
Yeah.
They just lie there and listen to music, and that's what they want. So it's that instant gratification in that short period of time.
And I don't know if us as humans will ever stop wanting that.
Yes.
Like we're always going to look for shortcuts. We're going to always look for the path of least resistance, but not everyone is going to fall into that bucket. And I think the fitness industry is going to be, it's going to be massively up for grabs as technology is able to achieve dream results in shorter times. It's like liposuction. It's like, okay, I can invest all this money and potentially in 12 weeks have the dream body, but it might not work. If I'm not compliant, something happens, it might not work. Or I can pay 10 times the amount of money and in 12 hours, I'll have that dream body if I get liposuction.
And do you think, because I'm not for or against surgery, I know
Yeah.
lots of people who have surgery and you see the instant self-esteem boost that they
Yeah.
get after it. And I may one day get surgery for my abs if I'm still unhappy, or my breasts after, feeding all these children. But I lost my question to you. What did I
Were you
say?
gonna say like what are my thoughts on surgery? Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I Okay, I think I can think about this on a level that I can relate to a lot, which is like repairing a shoulder, like getting a shoulder reconstruction, which I've had 4 of, and I've had 3 knee reconstructions. And as a person who has an issue, and that issue can be a psychological issue, it can be a self-esteem issue, it can be a structural issue. It's like there are always, not always, sometimes the only option is surgery, right? Whether it's aesthetic or it's, a functional surgery. But there are generally options. And I think it's just which option resonates best with you at that point in time. And there were moments in time as a rugby player where I wanted a quick fix because I wanted to get back on the field, which meant surgery at the time was the best option. But now I wouldn't do it
Yes.
because I'm like, I know enough about the science of, doing something like that to your body and the trauma that's stored there and then the actual recovery time and the impact that has on the gut and so many more things. I now know that it's like, okay, am I willing to take that risk and do it for a short-term gain, or can I take this more conventional route and play the long game? And I have the same conversation with my clients all the time. Saw the doctor, my knee pain, they said I can just get surgery tomorrow. I'm like, awesome, let's just weigh up both options, and then you just ultimately need to make the one that's best for you. Like if you're not willing to commit, sacrifice, take the risk that it might not work if you go down the rehab route, if you're not willing to do that, then do the surgery. So I think Yeah, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that I give people a chance to really think about both sides of it and then choose the thing that's best for them.
Agree.
Yeah.
I'm also not a doctor.
Me
So,
neither. Yeah. Me neither. But I mean, I had the same idea with medicine and like Western
mm.
medicine. It's to say like I've moved towards like holistic and like Chinese medicine a lot actually in the last few years.
I love Chinese
Yeah.
medicine. It's helped me a lot with my menstrual regulation, with my skin, bowels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, Ziggy. We're gonna get you back on because we need to talk. I think we need to dive into the women's health stuff because you
That's more my niche.
are clearly you've just got a plethora of knowledge and information there that I'm really excited to dig into. But we're gonna wrap this up with a new tradition on the
Okay.
podcast. And you are the first person, by the way, that's gonna take on this new tradition. So the closing question normally is take us through your perfect day. But today, the closing tradition is going to be what is a quote or a mantra that resonates with you right now?
The quote or mantra that resonates with me the most right now is one that I've been saying to myself and writing down when I journal. And it is not from me, someone gave it to me. It is there is enough time, there is enough money, there is enough love.
Why does that resonate with you?
Well, it's at any point in my life, I probably have, or what gives me the least self esteem is when I think that I'm too late. It's too late to start something. I should have done this 10 years ago. Or, nobody loves me. I don't love myself. I have no self worth. Or everyone else is ahead of me financially. Or I don't have enough. And we're just enough. Like there is enough time. There is enough money. There is enough love.
Love it. Z, this has been an absolute pleasure. I knew it would be.
Thanks.
Where can people find out more about you?
Usually just on Instagram at zig.fitmama, or if you want to come check us out at The Vault and what we do and our different programs, that is the vault-fitness.com.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Before we say goodbye, here's one crazy statistic for you. Did you know that almost 40% of people who listen to the show don't actually subscribe to it? Now, I didn't think that was a big deal until I actually learned about the power of hitting subscribe. For you, the listener, you get to stay up to date when we drop episodes on a weekly basis. But for us as a podcast, it really helps our visibility and helps us attract great brands and great listeners to help grow this podcast. So if you enjoyed this episode or you're a big fan of the show, please do us a massive favor and hit subscribe. Thank you so much.